Welcome back, friends. We will now talk of fertilization, pregnancy and menstruation in this video. So it is called the reproductive cycle. Now in the context of your NCERT syllabus, it may not be as detailed as what I am going to give you, but I just thought that if I explain to you the whole thing in a little bit more detail, you'll enjoy it more and you'll have a better understanding. So be prepared for a little bit more details. Okay, so let's talk of the reproductive cycle. The female reproductive cycle repeats every 28 to 30 days to release an egg cell to be fertilized if conditions apply, if sperm are present, right? So if sperm is there, what will happen? Fertilization. If sperm is not there, bye bye, reset again, back to square one. Next month again we'll try. So this cycle will repeat for many years, from puberty, we talked of puberty in a very early video, to menopause. Menopause is the time when the reproductive cycle comes to end. Right? There are two words which I'm going to use. Oh, let's take three words. One is menstruation. Menstruation is the flow of blood in the females every month to clean the system. Right? Menstruation starts at puberty, and this thing is called menarche. ARCHE. Right? Menarche is the scientific term showing the start of menstruation, right? And menstrual cycle ends at menopause. So approximately around 11 years to 12 years of age, menarche occurs, means menstrual cycle starts, and around 45 years, around 45 years of age, menstrual cycle will stop. So menstruation stops. That is called menopause. After 45, after this period, the female is not able to have children, because now the egg is not released. The processes that occur will differ depending on whether the ovum is fertilized or not. See, if ovum is fertilized, resultant is baby. If it is not fertilized, reset, back next month again, it will start again. So after ovulation, ovulation occurs. If fertilization does not occur, the reproductive organs reset. They reset. Through the menstruation to start the process again. So menstruation is a process of resetting the female reproductive organs. Okay, we'll talk of that a little later. First, let's talk of ovulation. Ovulation means the release of the egg cell. Right? The release of the egg cell is called ovulation. So once a month, only once a month, one of the ovaries, only one of the ovaries releases one mature ovum into the oviduct. It may be more than one, right? It may be more than one ovum also. That is why twins, triplets, quadruplets also come. But normally it is one ovary releasing one ovum or one egg, right? This process is called ovulation, right? Okay. At the same time, now the moment ovulation occurs, or even before that, the uterus wall thickens and develops extra blood vessels. Right? So at the same time, remember this, the uterus wall will thicken and it will develop extra blood vessels. I have a figure for you. I'll explain this by a chart. So this is in preparation. What this? The thickening of the uterus walls is in preparation for the possible implantation of a fertilized egg. The egg, if it meets a sperm, see, we talked of this. If an egg meets a sperm, we can say it fuses or fusion occurs, and the zygote is formed. This zygote will implant, means fix itself in the uterus wall, right? And this will result in the embryo development, right? Embryo will develop, which will result ultimately in pregnancy and the birth of the child, right? This is the whole process, right? This is when fertilization occurs. Okay, fertilization occurs, then this process will come. And at the same time, see, for implantation, right? For implantation, the uterus wall becomes thick. So extra blood vessels develop to provide nutrition to the embryo in its development stage. But suppose the uterus does not receive a zygote, there is no implantation, then all the work which has been done in uterus will go in vain. So then uterus will do cleaning action. It will clean it out. All the extra thickened wall, the extra blood vessels have to be removed out, so that fresh blood vessels can come out for the next month. So if this does not occur, right, fertilization does not occur, what will happen? The cleaning process will occur of uterus, and this cleaning process of uterus, we call it menstruation, right? Menstruation. In simple parlance, in everyday language, we call it period, Anna. Right? We say a girl is in period. Yeah, we can say time chal raha hai. These are the words, but actually they all mean menstrual flow or menstruation. And it's around 5-day period. Right? There's a 5-day period of this menstrual cycle every 28 to 30 days. So when there is no fertilized egg, see, remember, when there is no fertilized egg cell, means no zygote to implant in the uterus, the thick layer of blood and tissue is no longer needed, right? So it is to be removed. So it is passed out through the vagina during menstruation. The entire process is called the menstrual cycle. It repeats every 28 to 30 days, right? And this menstruation, we call it bleeding. So blood flow comes out from the vagina, right? In small amounts, blood comes out. The uterus is cleaning itself, right? The uterus, the thick layer of blood and tissue which have been formed in the uterus are removed out. So bleeding occurs. That is why it is very essential for a female who is menstruating to wear sanitary pads for maintaining hygiene. So now look at this diagram. This is the entire chart. Let's understand this. The menstrual cycle is a 28-day cycle. See, 1 to 28, right? And this upper part shows the history of the ovarian follicle, the egg history. So now see, at day 1 of the menstruation, see, day 1 to day 5, day 1 to day 5, this is the menstrual cycle where bleeding is occurring. You can see this is the level of the tissue, that of the blood tissues. You see, the blood tissues level in the uterus is very high at day 1, and then bleeding starts, and the uterus loses the tissue, and at day 5 the uterus has lost all this extra tissue. See, the red part, you see, no, it has lost, all this part has been lost, and the uterus wall is now thin. It was thick initially, see, when it started it was thick, but now it is thin. Okay, so that's day 1 to 5 of menstruation. This is when the bleeding occurs, right? It stops here. At the very same day of day 1, a new follicle, an ovarian follicle, is recruited. Means one follicle is selected in the ovary. This follicle starts developing. You see, the follicle starts developing. It matures, and you see, from 5 to 13, from day number 5 to day number 13, you see, the uterus wall is slowly becoming thicker. It will becoming thicker, but not so thick. Not much action is happening here. But then look at this. At 13th day, the follicle has matured. And what happens on the 14th day? See, what happens on the 14th day? Very important day. This is the day of ovulation. This is the day when the follicle ruptures. The mature follicle ruptures, right? And the egg is released. See, the egg is released. So egg now comes into the fallopian tube. This is called ovulation. So when does it occur? 14th day. And see, the day the ovulation occurs, what remains now? The egg is out. This covering remains, right? This covering is called the corpus luteum. This covering, right, will remain, and this will degenerate slowly. You see, it degenerates and it dies away. But what happens at this stage? The hormone progesterone is secreted, and hormone progesterone prepares the vaginal wall. See, at day 14 onwards, the uterine, sorry, not vaginal wall, uterine wall is now prepared. Again, see, it is filling with blood vessels, and it is reaching 28th day. This cycle is over. Now, in this cycle, the egg had come. Right? The egg has come at the 14th day. See, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Let's take a healthy egg, and let's say 6 days. Within these 6 days, if this egg meets a sperm cell, then the zygote is formed. Means fertilization occurs, and this will maintain. This will not go away. This will not go away. Got it? The uterine wall will remain thick because this zygote now will come and fix into the uterus. Right? Zygote is going to fix in the uterus. Implantation. But if such a thing does not occur, the egg does not meet the sperm on these days, no sperm comes, what happens? The egg ultimately dies. So all this tissue is in vain. Right now, all the work done by the uterus is of vain. So after 28 days, the next day will start this. The next cycle starts. Menstruation will start. So this is a cycle. That is why it's called menstrual cycle, because now 28th day, and the next will now again come back to 1. Next cycle starts. Bleeding starts. Bleeding ends. New follicle, uterine wall starts preparing again. The follicle is maturing. It ruptures. Ovulation occurs. That the egg is now in the fallopian tube for 4-5 days. If it fertilizes, fine, implantation. If it doesn't fertilize, egg will die. Again the new cycle, and it will go on and on and on from menarche to menopause. Okay, so let us see fertilization now. Mean if the egg meets the sperm, then it won't die, right? What will happen? During sexual intercourse, the erect male penis enters the female vagina. This intercourse is also called mating, right? The other word is called mating. This, or it is called copulation, right? So mating, sexual intercourse, mating, copulation, all the same meaning, right? The act of sexual, the activity of sex, or in simple words, the sexual act. What happens up here? The penis, male penis, deposits sperm into the female vagina through ejaculation. Means the penis will throw out sperm into the vagina. Now, sperms can be millions of sperm cells in one ejaculation, but only one will be able to penetrate the outer membrane of the ovum. Only one cell, only one sperm cell can fertilize the egg. So after ejaculation into the vagina, the sperm swim into the cervix, see, vagina to the cervix, and through the uterus to the oviduct. So sperm cell enters the vagina. See, they are good swimmers. They pass through the narrow channel called cervix into the uterus, and from the uterus into the fallopian tube. All this just to search for that one egg. And they don't know whether it is in the right fallopian tube or the left fallopian tube, right? The egg can be anywhere. Once inside the oviducts, means the fallopian tube, the sperm swim to meet the mature egg that was released from the ovaries and is now traveling towards the uterus. So the egg is moving towards uterus. The sperm is moving from the uterus towards the in the fallopian tube, looking for the egg, searching for the egg. And one sperm cell, when they meet the egg, one sperm cell will burrow. Burrow means go into. It will make a hole and go into the surface of the ovum. And once only the sperm's head enters, right? Only the sperm's head enters, the tail stays outside. Tail has done his work. Tail is only for moving. As soon as one has penetrated, right? As soon as one sperm cell has penetrated, means entered inside the outer layer, then the surface of the ovum changes and no more sperm will be allowed to enter. So one sperm enters, finished. Others are blocked from entering. This process is called fertilization. The union of the male and female, male egg and female sperm is called fertilization. It takes place in the outer part of the oviduct, the part near the uterus. Not in the uterus, not in the vagina. Fertilization occurs in the oviduct, in the fallopian tube only. See, once the sperm on the right, this sperm, has entered the outer layer of the ovum, no more sperm will be able to penetrate. Right? This sperm has come first. Right? It has won the race. Now no other second prize. There is no second prize, no third prize. Right? Second prize, sorry. Third prize, sorry, no prizes. Only there is one prize to be won. First prize. So life is a race, my friends. The fastest sperm only will win. No other sperm will have entry. And then what happens? Pregnancy and birth. So pregnancy begins the moment the female egg cell is fertilized by the male sperm cell. Now it is called the zygote. The egg and sperm unite to form zygote. Pregnancy begins the moment the female egg cell is fertilized by the male sperm cell. Right? This we just talked. Oh, I repeated twice. The fertilized egg is now called an embryo. Right? Now this zygote will further divide, and it's called an embryo. It undergoes cell division over and over again. This forms a cluster of cells, a group of cells, with the different cells differentiating to become the specialized cells, tissues and organs that make up the human body. Meaning, see, one cell will become 2, 2 will become 4, 4 becomes 8. Right? See, this is the 8th cell human embryo on day 3 after fertilization. See, On day 3 after fertilization, this embryo is now 8 cell, and this is when differentiation will occur now. One will become the brain or the nervous system, and the whole digestive system, the nervous system is starting to be formed. When the embryo implants means fixes into the spongy blood vessel rich lining of the uterus, some of the cluster of cells that formed after fertilization form the placenta. So placenta forms in the uterus. The uterus walls forms the placenta. Placenta is rich in blood vessels. It is the place which gives nutrition to the baby. The placenta is a part of the uterus, is a part of the mother, and it feeds the womb. It will feed the baby. The placenta is partly formed by the mother and partly by the embryo. Right? It's a mixture of both. The embryo develops an umbilical cord. Right? Umbilical cord. What is called umbilical cord to attach itself to the placenta. The embryo is joined to placenta by the umbilical cord. It's a pipeline through which the baby gets nutrition. The embryo now can receive food and oxygen. It can remove its waste through the umbilical cord and the placenta. Now the baby's waste are given to the mother only. Mother's body only gets the waste, and it is removed by the mother's body. Same way, the food and oxygen which the mother's body gets is passed to the embryo by the umbilical cord and the placenta. So the placenta, umbilical cord and the embryo are in connection. See, something like this. This is the fetus. The developing baby is called fetus. Okay, the fetus is in the womb. Okay? And up here you can see the whole sac, the embryonic sac. This is called the embryonic sac. This is filled with liquid. Right? It is filled with a fluid structure, liquid, and the baby is in this liquid medium only until the baby is born. The embryonic sac will rupture and water will come out. This is a signal of pregnancy over, delivery. Right? When the embryonic sac breaks, it means the baby is ready for delivery. So you see, this is the placenta. It is a part of the uterus. Placenta is joined to the uterus wall, and the umbilical cord. See, this is the umbilical cord, and umbilical cord is the pipeline which joins the fetus to the placenta, and all the nutrition and waste passes through this umbilical cord. Right? So the fetus, the developing baby, is attached to the placenta by the umbilical cord. Okay. In humans, pregnancy is about 40 weeks. That's 9 months. You do 40 into 7, that's 280 days. So around 280 days or 9 months is the period of pregnancy in human beings. It will vary in different animals. Okay. We call this the gestation period. This is the period in which the child from a zygote to the actual full developed child, that whole period is called gestation period. So when you go to when a female goes to a doctor, gynecologist, and tells the gynae, I do not menstruate, my menstrual cycle I skipped, I may be pregnant. So the doctor asks the female the last date when the menstrual cycle started. Adding 14 to that will bring out the ovulation, and from there the doctor will get a tentative date. That adding 280 days, we will get an idea of the gestation period, and the delivery date will be determined. Towards the end of the pregnancy, the uterus starts to contract. This pushes the head of the fetus into the vagina, that's the birth canal, and after the head has appeared, the rest of the body comes out quite quickly, because the head is the biggest part of the newborn baby. So the head, once it comes out, then it's easy for the baby to come out. Suppose the baby is inverted, the head cannot come out first, the leg comes out, then it's very tough. Then at that time cesarean operation has to occur. The doctor will have to cut open the womb and take out the baby, because the baby is unable to come out on its own. So we do a C-section. It is called a C-section, also called a cesarean, where operation is done and the baby is taken out. The last to come out is the placenta, and placenta is then means the whole entire uterus is now clean and the baby is born. Looks like this. This is a newborn baby, you see, and you can see in this baby the placenta is still not removed. Right? The doctor will have to cut it out. The placenta, no, the umbilical cord will have to be cut it out. हमारा जो ड्यूटी का जो बटन होता है, right? That is the place where the umbilical cord was there. Once the baby is born, the umbilical cord is cut and doctor ties it and presses it into our abdomen cavity. So very newborn, and so this is the miracle of childbirth. Yeah, you see, it's a miracle. And a newborn baby is out. A new life has come out in the world. So let's recap. Look at this. Step number 1, insemination occurs here, means semen. That sperm is released into the vagina during the act of sexual intercourse. The sperm moves up from the uterus, so cervix to uterus, from uterus to the fallopian tube, and if it meets the egg in the fallopian tube, in the upper part of the fallopian tube, what will happen? There will be fertilization. So see, sperm swarm around the egg. Many sperm cells are moving around the egg. It's a race, and only one cell, see, one sperm cell is entering. This sperm cell enters, and only the head will enter. Finish. And once this egg enters, this sperm enters, no other egg can also enter. After that, so no other sperm can enter. So this sperm manages to enter. The DNA part of the head, the nucleus of the sperm, enters the egg and fuses with the female genetic code. The tail remains outside, and we can say a zygote is formed. Fertilization occurred. Okay, and let's sum it up. See, the male sex organ testes will release sperm. The female sex organ ovary releases egg. If the sperm and egg fuse, means fertilization occurs. If fertilization occurs, they form a zygote. The zygote further divides into an embryo, which gets implanted. Where? So in the uterus, and it develops into fetus, which is our baby. Okay, on delivery. This is pregnancy. But suppose if fusion does not occur, if fusion does not occur, then what happens? The uterus, the blood vessel in the uterus wall, the egg cell, all are flushed out to the bleeding of blood. Means that's called menstruation, and the cycle will continue. Cycle means again it will prepare for the next cycle of 28 days. Okay, friends, so this is a summary. We will talk of a new topic, child prevention of pregnancy, contraceptives and sexual health, in the next video. Bye friends.